Hey guys, it's Crypto Kyle here. Today I wanted to talk about pump and dumps. So I'm looking at here of it's Mercury and it's trading paired up with Bitcoin. So you can find this in Bittrex, which I found in Bittrex as I just transferred a little bit of cash over to kind of play with these. I don't know, similar to what a penny stock would be. So it's these like fractional cryptocurrencies that are they get okay volume, but obviously they're not trading with the high dollar amounts that you see in like Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Looks like Bitcoin. Looks like it had another little flash crash here, which I kind of called that we needed to see a pullback down into its moving average here. So we may be getting a double top. I'd just be careful, especially if this one loses the moving average on this new candle here. We could see a nice pullback, maybe down to low 10,000s. Let's check what the fib is going to tell me here. Put that there. That there's who may have false breakout. If it can't hold this 11,200 area, which was the previous high on this candle right here, right there, then we could see a pretty significant pullback on like maybe a double top, or even form like a future head and shoulders pattern, like this being the head on this left shoulder. This is the head. We come down, we go back up, maybe we get like a lower one here and do another head and shoulders pattern. We could see some downside, but in any case, it's still bullish now. I would just be cautious if you're long. So let's take a look at Mercury, because this one kind of interested me. We saw this huge pump. So it started at basically $0, and then the equivalent in Bitcoin now, the actual equivalent now is about $11 and some change, is what they pumped it up to, and then they dumped it. So whoever organized this, like, you should see, look at all the selling volume come in the next day after the huge pump. And then these wicks right here, these are these long wicks. This is an indication that you should probably be getting out and not holding onto this coin. And that was on November 14th or somewhere right around there. What interested me though, let me set up my chart here. Was that we saw this huge consolidation over, I don't know, about a month and a half. And it's just like hovering at pretty much nothing. Then we started to see some more buying volume come in. And so we saw a lot of selling right here. Let's zoom in on that. Yeah. I don't know why it spiked and we saw a huge sell-off. Let me get my fib out of the way. Right here, this spike, sell off, but then the next day we saw a lot of buying volume come in, and I thought that was interesting because the pump's over, so you'd think it would just be dead in the water, but it looks like we're getting some interest again. So we saw a breakout over this previous high here, right there on this day, with strong volume, and then it's not seeing the same amount of selling volume as it did during the pump. We're seeing like some nice consolidation here, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. Let's look at the 1 hour, maybe a little extended on the daily. Let's come back down here. So we might see a little bit of a retrace back into this area, but I thought it was interesting that it's starting to ramp back up. So maybe they're gonna pump it again. That's why I've actually chosen to go long. I'm long at 52.60. Here, so somewhere in here, I can just mark that actually. Let me mark that. Let's say like right there. It's hard to get these things like right on the dime. Yeah, like right there, I'm long. So if we can see some more sideways consolidation, we could see like a huge upside on the next pump. I'm wondering if that's what they're going to do. And I don't have much skin in the game on this. I took relatively small size just because of the mass pump and dump on it. So I don't want to risk a lot of money. And actually, I moved some money to Bittrex the other day, and I actually got in on this move in the hemp coin. I went long at 6.8 right here, and then I ended up selling at 0.9 on this push, and it looks like it's holding steady, but it's super overextended on the daily chart. That's why I wanted to catch it. I held it overnight, so I woke up to a nice profit, about just over 50% profit just overnight, so that's cool. But I did want to close that position because I don't know if it's going to come crashing back down. This thing tends to pop and drop. Like, you can just look at that trend. History tends to repeat itself with all these spikes and sells. Nobody really knows how to price it. But then we saw 2 big green candles in a row, so I got kind of lucky, just being in the right place at the right time. So yeah, I wanted to keep this one on your radar and kind of make you aware of these pump and dump schemes. So don't necessarily want to jump into an ICO or any like IPO if you're trading stock. You kind of want to let it iron itself out. Some good ones, I mean, off the top of my head, for stocks, I could try to pull up an example. Maybe Roku jumped and then it sold off, but now it's had this massive rally. Let's see if we can just find that. So you can see that this was the IPO here. It opened about 16 and just had this massive runoff. And then had you bought at 29, you would have found yourself pretty deep in the hole as it just kind of faded away back down to its opening price. But then they reported earnings and just absolutely crushed it, and it went up into the 40s, just like that. So this was a huge run up here. We were trading that stock. It's too expensive for me now. I don't like to trade things over that at that dollar amount. So let's take a look at the crypto again. So yeah, the THC one, if it can kind of come back down in this level here, I'm interested, and I want to see it catch this moving average, and I want this moving average to kind of flatten out and go back up to a 45-degree angle. And then this one is piquing my interest because of the fact that it was a huge pump and dump. There's like no resistance. It's just so new. I'm thinking maybe it comes back to life, and I like the volume that's just starting to peak back in at these low prices compared to what it was. Like, if they can pump this thing back up to the equivalent of a couple dollars, and I think it's only like, what, 50 cents right now. Let me see, get out my calculator. Yeah, it's literally 57 cents to the US dollar. So, and at its height, it was what equivalent to like $11 right now. So that's a huge gain potential. So if you go in small size, potentially you could see a lot of upside, depending on what your risk is. Obviously, you're risking 57 cents because that's what zero would be. Can't be a negative number when you're trading. So 57 cents per token is what you'd be risking. So potential, the upside is huge. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna post this, and if you have any questions, Kyle@bitconnectloan.com. If you're interested in learning how to trade a little bit better, please reach out to me. I'm going to be taking on several students soon and teaching them the ropes, not only in cryptos, but in stocks in general, and just like strategy and the tools that you would need, and the ways in to read the charts and understand kind of like what's going on before you enter in the trade, and then potentially where you would probably want to exit the trade. So please do reach out. I hope you all have a good night. Cheers.